Hello and welcome to another Clip Studio Paint tutorial. In this occasion, I will share with you a practical and technical guide in Clip Studio Paint to achieve beautiful color prints. I will divide the tutorial in two parts. First, I will talk about canvas size, how to set the optimal resolution for our file, and how to preview our print size. Then I will talk about color, the difference between RGB and CMYK, color profiles, how to preview and select colors, and how to properly export the file. Okay, first let's review the settings in File, New. In this section we have the width, the height and the resolution of the canvas. In this menu we have the different units. I divide them between physical units such as centimeters, millimeters or inches, and into digital or pixels. This is helpful to select the proper settings for our work. If our work is for screens, we should select pixels as our unit and focus on the final canvas size, such as 1920 by 1080. A common resolution for screens is 72 dpi, but it usually doesn't affect the final outcome in screens. The relationship between resolution and pixels is important when working for print. For example, here I have an A4 size page with a resolution of 300 dpi. In pixels, the dimensions are 3508 by 2480. If we switch the unit to centimeters, an A4 size page is 29.7 by 21 centimeters. We lower the resolution to 72 dpi, and if we check the pixels, we now have 842 by 595 pixels. But we still need to cover the same physical size. To understand the problem, we need to define a couple things. DPI stands for dots per inch. This basically means the amount of physical dots that the printer can place in a line of 1 inch. We also have pixels per inch. That's the amount of pixels per inch in a screen. For our work, and to be practical, when we say DPI, we mean the amount of pixels per inch printed in the page. So, in our example, in the case of an A4 page, we have 29.7 by 21 centimeters. So, at 300 dpi, we have a good amount of dots or pixels in the page, small enough that we can't easily see them. If we lower the resolution to 72 dpi, we have a lower amount of pixels, but we still need to cover the same physical size. To achieve this, the pixels need to be bigger. We are going to see the pixels in the print, resulting in a pixelated image. Here's a comparison to illustrate the point. At 72 dpi, we lose detail. So, do we always need to use 300 dpi? Although 300 is a good resolution that is usually recommended, it's not always necessary or practical to use. To pick the optimal resolution for our work, we need to take into consideration several things. Things like the printing material and technique can affect our choice on resolution. Printed fabrics, for example, are usually printed at 180 dpi, and some printing methods may require even higher resolution than 300 dpi. In some cases, it simply isn't practical to use 300 dpi. If we need a large format canvas print of, for example, 2 meters, and we set it to 300 dpi, the file will have a tremendous amount of pixels and we will need a really powerful computer to work in it. Even if, for example, your computer can handle it, a canvas size that is too big can cause troubles in other ways. Here I have an A3 canvas at 300 dpi, and I'm painting with a brush with the biggest possible size of 2000 pixels. Let's go to Edit, change Image Resolution, and change the resolution to 1200 dpi. This scales the file to a huge size. Now the same brush is smaller, and it also slows down my computer. Probably the most important factor is how far away the viewer is from the artwork. We need to pick the proper resolution to make sure we don't see the dots or pixels from the intended viewing distance. Here is a general guide, assuming someone with good eyesight and lighting conditions. Prints that the viewer will hold, such as books or magazines, are typically viewed at 1 foot or 30 centimeters, need a minimum resolution of 300 dpi. We maybe can get away with 250. A small poster that will be viewed at 1 meter or 3 feet away needs a minimal resolution of 180 dpi. A large format print, maybe viewed at around 2 or 3 meters or 10 feet, needs a minimal resolution lower than 100 dpi, maybe around 90 to 60 dpi. A billboard that will be viewed from 10 meters or 30 feet away can be printed at a low resolution such as 30 dpi, maybe even lower. The minimum resolution in Clip Studio Paint is 72 dpi. If we look close to a billboard, we can easily see the printed dots or pixels in the image, but it will look good if we stand far away. So here's a practical guide. If the work is intended to print, define the final printing size, determine the viewing distance, and pick a proper minimum resolution according to the chart. This will give us the correct pixel dimensions. It isn't a problem having too much resolution, but try to achieve a balance between the amount of details and the performance. If you want to work with an all-around and flexible canvas size, you can use 7000 pixels. It will look good even on 4K screens, and it will let us print with great quality in a lot of different sizes. We can go to Edit, change image resolution, and fix the pixels. Choose a physical size, and if we change the resolution, it will give us an optimal print size. Lower the resolution to make the print bigger, and if we want a high resolution, we need to print in a smaller size. If we know that we are going to print, it's a good idea to work around the optimal physical size and resolution. Let's calibrate our monitor to get a preview of the print size in the screen. We go to File, Preference, and then we choose Canvas. In Display Resolution, click Settings. Grab a ruler and align it with the one in the screen. Adjust the slider to calibrate the monitor. Now we can check the print size. Here I have a small physical size with a high resolution. In the screen, I can zoom in really close and work in small details. But let's check the actual print size. Go to View, Print Size. The actual print is small, and we can really see those details. Check the print size often to avoid wasting time adding information that we can really see and can even look bad while printed. Right-click, then go to Command Bar Settings to add a shortcut. Then add View, Print Size, and it will create a new icon in the command bar that we can click to set the preview to print size. If your computer can handle it, go to Windows, Canvas, New Window to add a duplicate window of our document. Place it to the side and set the view to print size. Now we can work in the main canvas and preview how it will look in the real size. That's all I have today for canvas size. Now let's talk about color. First, let's define a couple of concepts. Color models are a system that utilize 3 or 4 primary colors to create a larger amount of colors. Two typical models are RGB and CMYK. RGB is an additive color model. It combines red, green and blue lights to create the different colors. Overlapping the 3 colors results in white light. It's typically used in screens and other electronic devices such as cameras. CMYK is a subtractive color model. It combines cyan, magenta and yellow to create the different colors. The ink or paint in the paper subtracts color from the reflected light, creating the different colors. A black ink is added to achieve more details in the shadows. This color model can create white, so it relies on the white of the paper. CMYK is utilized for printing. A color space is a specific implementation of a color model. We also call it color profile. The color space defines the amount of colors that can be described. This is called the color range or gamut. For example, two typical color space for the RGB color model are sRGB and Adobe RGB. Although the two color spaces are in the RGB model, they have a different range of colors. The Adobe RGB can represent more of the full spectrum of color, and a CMYK color space have a lot less colors to work with. That's why when we convert colors from RGB to CMYK, the colors are less saturated since we can reproduce the bright colors of RGB. RGB and CMYK are relative color modes, since they depend on the displaying device. The colors will change between different monitors, for example, even if they are the same model. Papers have their own gamut as well. We achieve different results with the same printer and file by using different materials. To recreate consistent colors, we need to embed the color profiles. With an embedded profile, we give the different devices information on how to properly reproduce the colors. This helps to minimize the difference between devices and to keep consistent colors. To preview a color profile, we need to go to View, Color Profile, Preview Settings. Here we can select our color profile for preview. We have installed some standard profiles. The standards may change based on location. If you are using a commercial print shop, ask them what profile they need. It can be different for specific printers and even for the material you choose to print into. I pick a CMYK profile and the colors look different. We can check the original colors in the navigator window. Since RGB has a wider gamut, the new profile can't cover all the colors. Especially the brighter and vivid colors get a bit darker and desaturated. The rendering intent specifies how the out-of-gamut colors are converted. The perceptual indent shifts all the colors inside of gamut, while keeping the balance between them. Even with changed colors, the image will look natural, and it works well for color correction. Saturation produces saturated colors, but it won't maintain the relationship between them. Relative colorimetric only shifts the out-of-gamut colors to the closest in-gamut value. It doesn't maintain the relationship between colors. It's a good choice for skin tones and for few out-of-gamut colors. Absolute colorimetric simulates the white of the paper and it is used for proofing. The common rendering intents are perceptual and relative colorimetric. Select the one that works best for the image. Activate tonal correction to change the reproduced colors. We can use levels or a tonal curve. We can change the overall contrast or specific channels. We can add a shortcut to the command bar the same way we did with the preview print size. We can also create a duplicate window to preview the colors. We can use the CMYK sliders to help us pick the colors. If we pick a color outside of gamut and change a value in the sliders, it will give us the closest color in CMYK. Keep in mind that blending modes and correction layers still can result in out-of-gamut colors. To export, go to File, Export Single Layer, and choose a file type without compression such as TIFF or PSD, and choose a location to save it. In the Export Settings window, we can choose the expression of color. In this case, choose CMYK. Make sure Embed ICC Profile is selected. This will embed the color profile we set up for preview. If we didn't choose a profile, the defaults in Preference Color Conversion will be used. Remember to always keep a copy of the original file. While Clip Studio Paint can preview and export in CMYK, if we reopen that file, it will convert to RGB and it can result in degrading colors. If you need to, you can change the output size. Hopefully now you have a file ready for print. To recap, here's a practical guide for choosing colors. Ideally, you will have a color-calibrated monitor with a wide gamut and proper lighting conditions. Contact your printing service to know what color profile they need. Set up a color profile for preview and use it to check out-of-gamut colors. The CMYK color space will look good in printing, but we have limited colors. Use the CMYK color sliders to pick the colors. Export in a file type without compression, such as TIFF or PSD. Select the proper color space and make sure to embed the color profile. Remember to save a copy of your original file. RGB gives us more flexibility. We have more colors to work with and it will look good on screens. Also, a lot of modern digital printers prefer RGB files and they made the conversion to the proper color profile. Some of them even have a wider gamut than CMYK, so we can limit ourselves by using a smaller color palette. In most cases, I prefer to work in RGB, keeping in mind that overly bright and saturated colors may look different if I print. No matter the color space, it's always a good idea to make a test print to check the colors. Color printing can get complicated, so keep the technical aspect in mind and approach it in a practical way. Reach out to me in the comments if you have any questions. Thank you very much for watching.